What it do? What it do, guys? It's your boy, the Juice. And as you all know, my name is Troy Bradshaw, but I go by the Juice. Listen, guys, some folks have been reaching out and requesting that I cover a case revolving around a missing little girl who's only 4 years old, and she goes by the name of Javeayah Kemauni Harris. Okay. Um, so this little girl was reported missing by her mother, and this is in Aiken County, South Carolina. This little girl lived with her mother, her father, and extended relatives nearby. Okay. Up to July 3rd, she was treated as a missing child. Okay. June 30th was the day she was reported missing. And this was during the nighttime that she was reported missing. It reports that she was reported missing at 8:15, um, in between that time and 8:45 p.m. The mother called 911. And in that 911 call, she stated that she last saw Javeayah playing near the family's chicken coop. She went inside briefly, and then she came back out, and then the mother said that she was gone. Family searched the yard, the woods, and apparently they could not find her. Um, and remember, this is in Atten County, near Hillsborough Street and Ridgecrest. Mind you, I don't know much about South Carolina, so I really couldn't tell you what surrounds this specific area. But due to this 911 call, there was an immediate response. Deputies, firefighters, and EMS arrived within minutes, and they began searching. Okay. They searched the yard, they searched the chicken coop, nearby woods, outbuildings, creeks and ponds. Neighbors even joined in with flashlights. At this point, investigators believe she had wandered off or she had been abducted. Now, you guys know, if you watch my channel, I cover the Nancy Guthrie case, and that's the one and only case I've ever covered. And in these situations, they're very awful because these are two vulnerable people. One being very, very young, and Nancy, being very, very old, an elderly person. And these are just not cases you normally see. And it's just a sad, sad situation. And we really just hope that we don't get outcomes that we don't want in these specific situations. We're highly hopeful of the best outcome. Now, agencies involved in this particular case was Aiken County Sheriff, FBI, South Carolina Law Enforcement, South Carolina Forestry Commission, South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, multiple fire departments, mounted units, K-9 teams. I mean, they did it all. Okay. They use helicopters, drones, ATVs, boats, K-9, foot grid teams. They searched terrain 3 to 5,000 acres. Okay. And this is in thick woods, swamps, ponds, creeks, fields, dirt roads. So they did everything in their power with all the manpower that they had to try to find this missing child. They even put up billboards of this missing child. Investigators even interviewed neighbors, drivers passing through, anyone who might have seen her that very evening. No one reported seeing Javeayah after the time her mother claimed she disappeared. Okay. And this was July 1st. And all of these agencies got involved. So this is the next day. So day 2 comes July 2nd. But you could call it day 3 if you count the 30th. Search crews had covered several acres by then, okay? No footprints, clothing, or physical evidence were found. No witness saw a vehicle or stranger nearby the home. They had no evidence of an abduction. They were not ruling out anything. The search would continue until she was found. The sheriff empathized that the terrain was extremely difficult, thick brush, deep water, and a dense forest. July 3rd came. The 2nd of July, they had already searched 3,000 acres, and going into that next day, they searched about 2,000 more acres. So at this point, they were up to about 5,000 acres. So these search teams expanded the grid over 5,000 acres, I'm assuming. Helicopters and drones continued sweeps, boats searched ponds and creeks, canine was involved, and they rotated to avoid, being exhausted in this particular situation. They did everything in their power in this particular situation to find this missing child. With the community involvement, hundreds of volunteers attempted to help, but the law enforcement restricted access to avoid contaminating potential evidence. Investigators still describe the case as a missing child on July 3rd, a rescue mission, a search for a possibly lost or abducted preschooler. And they continue to say, we hope to find her alive. We are using every resource available. So get this. The mother did not give a closing description to the public. Her parents never publicly stated what she was wearing. Not once. Not in the 911 call. Not in an interview. Not in the early sheriff press briefing. And not in any written report released before July 4th. Now, if you watch the channel, you'll take notice on one of my lives. I did a brief report on this, and I believe as of yesterday, they did release that information based on what Javeayah was wearing, okay? The mother did not give a closing description to the public, though, and nonetheless, the sheriff also refused to release clothing details. No witness ever saw her outside that evening. And the child bulletin listed no clothing. It only described her as a 4-year-old girl. Reporters repeatedly asked for clothing details. None were provided. And to the public, this was a major red flag. Now, you have to understand, that's a very important piece when somebody's missing, because it helps people identify that person. It helps people go back and be able to look at cameras. It just helps in general narrow things down. So law enforcement waited 72 hours because the story her parents gave did not match the evidence. And law enforcement was already seeing red flags they didn't want to expose publicly. So in between July 1st and July 3rd, the parents' story wasn't lining up. The timeline didn't make sense. The playing near the chicken coop wasn't supported by evidence. No neighbors saw her outside. No camera caught her. No physical trace of a child was found. So on July 3rd, they had covered over 5,000 acres searching for this missing child. At this time, they reduced visible search operations, which means they had fewer helicopters and fewer roadblocks. This investigation remained fully active, though. They continued interviewing family members and neighbors, but they still had no evidence of an abduction. Anyone who saw Javeayah was advised to call 911 immediately. And all of the tips, they wanted these submitted to Aitkin County Sheriff's Office. So as of July 4th, Sheriff Marty Sawyer announced that the evidence shown Javeayah had been dead for at least a month before the 911 call. Both parents have been arrested. Kemauni Harris, only 23 years old, charged with homicide by child abuse. Mother, Michela Herring, only 22 years old, charged with homicide by child abuse and also charged with filing a false police report. Now, Sawyer held a conference and he stated that this is the hardest announcement that he's ever had to make in all of his 36 years. And I encourage you guys all to go watch that. But I also want to show you guys a brief clip of the statement that was made in an interview from Kemauni Harris. Now, just real quick, just keep in mind, these two individuals are innocent until proven guilty. However, I don't know what the forensic file is bottled up or the forensic team. However, for some reason, they've came to the conclusion that this is a homicide amongst these two parents here. I do know this. The law enforcement teams, amongst all the investigators investigating this specific case, have came to terms and to an agreement that she did not disappear on June 30th. The 911 call was allegedly a false report, and the public search was based on a story investigators now say was fabricated. So here is the voice of Kemauni Harris, father of Javeayah Kemauni Harris, in an interview.
I got up around five-ish, and my daughter was outside playing. My girl was out there watching her, and she was in and out of the house. I say that, and I was going to get up to wash the clothes. What else can I say? I left the house around 6, like late, maybe like early 7. It was probably around like 6, and I got back to the house maybe around 7:15 because my girl and my daughter said they wanted some candy, like she wanted some suckers and she wanted cookies, and I had went to like three stores maybe in between those times to go get gas, Black & Miles, and I had got some drinks, like some little Mad Dogs and stuff like that. And when I left and I went back to dry the clothes because I was watching them. I was sitting there for a little minute, then I ended up going to another store. Like these 3 stores that I'm saying, like I sold the 3 stores already, but I went to a store last. Gotcha. And I was back at the washing machine that was right beside the Circle K. And then when I was at the Circle K, I was seeing a lot of police and stuff going through, and I was wondering. I was like, you know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of stuff goes on in Aiken to where you would be like, okay, that's the police or whatever. But I didn't know that it was my house. My girlfriend. At the time, she didn't have service. She didn't have service on her phone, so she couldn't call me to let me know anything that was going on. So she just ended up calling 911. So when I came back to the house, before I got on my road, I seen a police truck with a drone out, and then that's when I started speeding up because I was like, it's something going down like close to my house. When I got turned on my road, I seen a whole bunch of police like right at my house. So that's when I hurried up and I got to the house, and I was like, what's going on? I thought my girlfriend was in labor because she was supposed to have a baby. You know what I'm saying, soon. So she ended up having a child that same night on July 1st. But she came up crying to me saying my Javeayah missing. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like I kind of freaked out, and the detectives were telling me I couldn't go look and stuff like that because they didn't want me to mess up the area or whatever. But that's basically what happened up until all of this came about.
Okay. Is she known to run away? Like, has there been past issues with that with her? Is she known to do that?
No, she does not run away, but I will say that she is friendly. Like, she's friendly, like she doesn't like, it's not a stranger danger thing with her. It's not like get away from me. Like, she didn't get that. She didn't understand it. She was just all friendly to everybody. She was very respectful. Like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. Like, that's what she do. We raised her great. Like, she was a real smart kid. That's why, like, they had me kind of, like, messed up. But they were saying that she was not, like, she's non-verbal and that. Like, yeah, she was, they were saying she's autistic and, Like that was like the media was like messing. I don't want to cuss, but that was messing my head up a little because they don't even have a good description of my child to try to describe her.
What's a good? Is she autistic or is she on the spectrum at all? Is that true?
She was on the spectrum when she was born, but they said that she couldn't be tested until she was 4 years old.
Okay, so it's on. You guys just don't know.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. We never got her tested, and she's never given us signs that she is, autistic. She talks good. She's like very like she talks better than me. She got more respect than me.
Understood. So you guys had no idea what could have happened to her.
I have no clue. Sir, I don't like. It's really wild, but I had gave all of these detectives this information about people snooping around the house lately. Like since I've started work, like from Friday, Thursday really, but from Friday to Monday, I had to work. Okay. I was working night shifts, and every time I left, my girl would like what she would tell me like, oh, it's been people doing this, and then the third around the house they've been called, like they be on the phone with people like around the house, like just talking and walking real slow and things like that. And like I've been telling them that, but
how are you doing through all of this?
I didn't got.
It's okay.
I didn't got a little bit of it out, but it's like not knowing is killing me. It's killing me, like because you see stuff like this often, but you don't expect it to be you.
And is the mother? Is she your wife?
No, she's not my wife. She was my girlfriend.
Okay. How is she doing?
She's still a little tore up, but she's making it. She's trying to stay calm because we just recently had a child. She had to really go in labor early because all the stress that was going down. She had that baby the same night that all of this happened.
Now here's the interesting twist to this story, and I waited till the end so you could hear that interview from Javeayah Harris. Now, I'll let you be the judge of that call, but one thing I'm going to point out before I say this is he didn't seem like he was emotional. He did not cry one time. He's stuttering, and the story just doesn't seem like it's straight. This is going to be a very interesting case, I'll tell you that. And so long story short, as of right now, they are looking for this young, beautiful little girl. Reports state that a separate investigative team determined she was not in the neighborhood at all. Sheriff Sawyer said that while search teams were combing the woods, a separate off-site investigative team concluded that Javeayah was not anywhere near the home when the 911 call was made. And that was one of the red flag indicators that investigators saw. There is no excuse whatsoever for you to lack any responsibility and lack the knowledge of your child's whereabouts. You should know where your child is at all times. No one is going to wait weeks and then reach out and report their child missing. And I think that's the interesting thing about this case here. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that the mother is going to speak out, as she probably already has, and this is why the FBI has figured a lot of this out, or they were able to pull phones in the area, or somebody that they told may have known something. But I'm just going to take a wild guess that this mother is going to state that she was in fear for her life, and that is going to be her excuse for not reaching out and saying something. But I'm going to guess that she is going to put the blame on the father and say he did this to this child. Now, the FBI is not releasing any information in regards to them telling us how they figured out, whether or not, this was a homicide, how they figured out, it was the parents that did this to their child. We don't know any of that information. Now, as of right now, they are currently looking for the remains of Javeayah. They do have a location of interest. However, they are not disclosing that information at this time. It's your boy, the juice. And I'll see y'all next time.